Whether it's naturally spawning Steves, supersized slimes, or dolphins breathing rain, Minecraft has some crazy mob facts that you need to know. Number 1. Most of us are under the impression that Ravagers were based off of a giant rhino, an elephant, or something like that. Turns out we were wrong. Mojang has provided photos of the earlier designs which show this derpy looking model. The developers refer to this as a cow with a snake's head, which appears similar to the mythological manticore. Thank goodness it didn't turn out this way or we'd have some bizarre looking Ravagers. Number 2. Did you know that all the agony you felt from creeper explosions was really just luck? It turns out those pesky mobs were not originally intended to be in the game, but in 2009, Notch messed up the pig model, making it stand up vertically instead of horizontally. This upright pig looked so creepy that Notch decided to keep it, later making the mob explode. Number 3. You're probably aware that allays can be turned into evokers if they stand beside each other too long. But did you know the lore behind these two mobs' names? Allay means to relieve or alleviate, whereas vex means to annoy or make frustrated. So their names are quite literally opposites. This is why the vex are hostile and will attack you, whereas the allay is cheerful, friendly, and passive. Number 4. Most of us don't really waste our time with goats, so you probably haven't heard that there's a way to harvest goat horns, and it doesn't include killing them. Every 30 to 300 seconds, goats will randomly ram a target. This includes all mobs except for gas, players, and even armor stands for some reason. The trick is to move aside and let the goat ram himself into a naturally spawning solid block. Something like copper ore, stone, or logs will cause one of the goat's 2 horns to fly right off. Just watch out, because these horns will never regrow. Number 5. The Elder Guardian is a puzzling mob. According to Jeb, it was added to encourage players to solve the Ocean Monument maze instead of cheating by digging around it. Well, that sucks for you, Jeb, because I'm going to continue avoiding that maze anyways. However, we should still appreciate the Elder Guardian because of its interesting loot, which has the chance to drop a fish, prismarine shards, armor trims, and even a wet sponge. Number 6. Witches can definitely give us a hard time, especially when they randomly start to attack you with potions. For that, you can thank Slavic folklore, since the Minecraft witch is actually based on the Baba Yaga, who lives in a hut, uses a mortar and pestle, and rides a mop or broom just like the witches we think of today. Number 7. Do you know what the projectile that shulkers shoot is called? Yeah, that little 3-dimensional cube shape with a bunch of particles around it. It looks sort of like a bullet, but buried in the game files, we discover it's actually called a spark, which makes 0 sense since it doesn't light anything on fire or do anything cool. Number 8. Whether or not you're a fan of polar bears will determine how you react to this next mob fact. As it turns out, polar bears were actually removed during development. Supposedly, this was because the mob was too sad with how endangered the bears' habitats were in real life. Luckily, Mojang brought it back so players can enjoy the cute little cubs. Number 9. Foxes are arguably the most impressive mob in the game, not because of their size or strength, but because of their amazing ability to jump. If you place a fox near a chicken, you'll notice that the fox performs this amazing dive bomb, leaping many blocks in the air. But what happens if the jump is too powerful? You'll see that their cute little face actually gets stuck in the snow. However, this isn't permanent. With some shaking and moving, the fox will be able to free themselves and escape the cold. Number 10. Unfortunately, for those of you on Bedrock, this secret mob is available on Java Edition only. The Illusioner does not spawn naturally, and there are no spawn eggs to bring them into the game. The only way to see them is to use the command /spawn Illusioner. Upon doing this, you'll notice this weird mix between an evoker and a skeleton, but with special abilities. Not only can it cast blindness, but the Illusioner will make itself invisible and spawn 4 duplicate clones of itself. This has to be one of the coolest mobs Mojang has neglected to release. Number 11. If for some reason you ever manage to take the Endermite with you to the Nether, then watch out. Endermites aren't as safe as you'd think in this biome. Because of their small size, they will suffocate in soul sand, so make sure to avoid it at all costs if you want to keep your little buddy alive. Or just leave it in the overworld or end like a normal person. Number 12. In order to survive, dolphins need water. This isn't a matter of preference. They will actually suffocate if they're on land too long. So what can you do if there's no nearby water source and you're out of buckets? Pray to the Minecraft gods. Because if you're lucky, it'll start raining. Rainy weather is enough to let the dolphin drink some water and keep themselves alive, which will hopefully buy enough time to return the poor animal to the water. Number 13. The Wither is an interesting mob because this impressive boss can destroy most mobs and blocks except for a few exceptions. Obviously, Bedrock and Reinforced Deep Slate are invulnerable. However, with mobs it gets even weirder. Withers will attack everything except undead mobs and other withers, except for one exception, the Ghast, who does not count as undead but is nonetheless still invincible from wither attacks. Number 14. Given its large size, it seems fair to assume that the Sniffer is a pretty tanky and strong mob. However, this fluffy, peaceful animal is really quite weak, boasting just 7 hearts compared to the Ravager's 50. The one saving grace is that you can heal Sniffers with torch flower seeds whenever they get to be low HP. Number 15. It's pretty well known that cats take no fall damage due to their ability to always flip upright during a fall. What's less well known is the fact that another animal can do this as well, the ocelot. Well, technically an ocelot is a type of cat, but since Mojang considers them different mobs, I think that counts. Number 16. I think most of us agree that turtles are some of the cutest mobs in the game, so odds are you've never actually killed one. If you did, you'd see that turtles typically drop 0 to 2 seagrass without a looting enchantment, except for this one secret turtle drop. If the mob is killed by lightning, it will actually drop a wooden bowl. It's like the lightning transformed the turtle shell into a bowl or something. I'm not sure the physics behind this quite works out, but hey, at least you get something to put your food in. Number 17. Slimes have a hidden feature in Java Edition that you absolutely need to know about. Using commands, you can choose the size of a slime ranging all the way from size 1 to size 127. This actually makes slimes the largest mob in the game, even bigger than an ender dragon, a giant, or wither. Number 18. Instead of being permanently removed from the game, mobs that Mojang no longer wants are usually just made unavailable. That is, except for a few mobs that were present in the in-dev version and then removed after just a couple of days. This includes Beast Boy, Mob, Steve, Black Steve, Rana, and Monster. After their animator, Doc, quit Mojang, all of these models were scrapped from the game, never to be seen again. Number 19. As far as unused mobs go, the Giant is a familiar face, given that it's been in the game all the way back to 2009. Despite this, Giants aren't incredibly useful because Mojang removed their AI in the 1.8 update. Under some definitions, this means Giants might technically not even be a mob, more like a robot or something. This is why Giants will just stare southward whenever spawned and do nothing. What is interesting is that even though these mobs are absolutely massive, little old Steve is still able to push them around with his body. Number 20. To close this video out, it might be interesting to explore some trivia about what mobs even are. If you were to guess, I bet the word mob being short for mobile entity is nowhere on your list, but that's technically what the word comes from. This first mob was added back in 2009, which was essentially just a copy of Steve, except it spawned naturally in the world, which looks quite odd today. Now there are somewhere around 80 different mobs. Comment down below what mob you think Mojang should add next. Make sure to like, subscribe, and click the video on screen for more content, where we show you how to get Minecraft done right.